Greetings, mighty companions, and welcome back to Transforming Relationships Through A Course in Miracles with the Quinns.
And Spirit.
And Spirit. Yay, Spirit.
We're not leaving you out, Chloe. You're still here.
Yeah, and we meant Spirit as our higher loving self, our guide, our comforter, our teacher, our helper. And so we are going to do the random number generator live as we begin our session today, so that we're letting Spirit choose together. So that's what we're doing. And on our Sundays and Tuesday classes, this is Transforming Relationships Through A Course in Miracles, we allow Spirit to use the Never Random Number Generator app to choose for us where and what in A Course in Miracles that we study each time, so that truly Spirit is in charge instead of our ego. Mm-hmm. So, would you guide us in a brief random number generator prayer?
I'd love to do that, baby.
Okay.
All right, y'all.
Yahweh.
Yahweh, we come to you and we just really ask that you do what you do so well. You were created by the thought of God, Holy Spirit, so that you could come and be our comforter when we have fear and doubt and anxiety and all the troubles of the world dial up within us. We have you, and the Course says if we knew who walked beside us, all of that would be impossible, because you would redirect our thoughts, our eyes and our ears to see and hear and understand what's really going on. And when we get your eyes and your ears as our comforter showing us what's really going on, then we're back to our home state of peace, because you can't see what's really going on and not be at good cheer, not be happy. And so we're so thankful that you're going to take us in this broadcast right now and do what you do best, which is to show us how the ego works. And once we understand all of the tricks and all of the gameplay that we're doing to ourselves through this creative device called the ego that we named it, then we can see with you how to undo what we have done and come back to our right state of mind, to a state of peace, joy, and happiness, which is our inheritance. And we thank you so much that you're going to do what you do best, and we're going to do what we're learning to do, which is to follow.
Yes. Beautiful.
Amen.
It's beautiful. All right. So, you got
Here
the
we
random,
go.
do you have the thing?
And
All
it's
right.
on a beautiful turquoise color tonight. I love that color.
Mm-hmm. Hi, Patrick. Hi, Pam. Lovely to see you both.
Random. Maybe it needs to be closer to you guys.
27.
27.
Okay.
All right.
27.
27 has how many?
Oh, it has 11. So great.
And we're reading out of the annotated as usual.
Which is the original dictation that came through the scribe Helen Schuckman.
The purple edition.
Mm-hmm. And also the black cover with white pearls on it.
All right, so chapter 27, and what section is it gonna be?
What's it gonna be?
Come on, 7. All right.
All right, which
27, 7.
Which is Sin's Witnesses. Dun dun dun.
Sin's witnesses.
Okay.
I wonder who they would be.
Yeah, and what it is exactly. The first sentence tells us that what Sin's witnesses are, and it is pain. Pain is Sin's witness.
Hey, look at Sin's witnesses
It's
showed
here,
up. You have a headache.
Exactly. I've got my ice pack right here, my little sin.
I had a backache yesterday. Quinns witness showed up.
Exactly.
And what's cool though is when you actually recognize, you put it together. You understand.
Put what together?
Well, that you're in pain, and instead of just complaining and moaning and groaning about the pain, which it's legitimate and it makes sense why you'd want to do that, but while you're in that pain, that place that you don't want to be, why not look at it
and see what it is witnessing?
I forget who said the other day, might have been Irene, but somebody in Sunday's class said, if nothing else, you learn from it. And so when you're experiencing pain, we can go back into our recent days, not too long into our past, and see where does this connection go?
Right. It's, in other words, pain is always an effect of a belief in guilt. So now we're using pain as a communication device as to what we were thinking, but that we were not conscious of. So pain is a witness to our belief in guilt and sin.
And it's like the Course says, nothing done unto us, nobody's doing anything to us. When we get this pain, we've requested it.
Right.
By giving out the guilt or giving out the pain or giving out the judgment that we've been doing. So we put out this request, and that's why it's good when the request shows up and you don't like it, to sit and look at it and wonder why do we keep doing the things that we do that bring these effects on.
Yes, exactly. And that's the best way to use pain. So it says pain demonstrates that the body must be real. Pain is a loud, obscuring voice whose shrieks would silence what the healing spirit says and keep the joyous spirit's words from your awareness. So that's what pain is. It's a loud, obscuring voice. That's what pain is. Pain is a loud, obscuring voice, and pain's voice is a shriek, and it's a shrieking voice whose purpose is to silence what the healing, happy spirit says, and to make sure that the words of the happy spirit are kept from your awareness. That is what pain is. Did you know that that's what your pain is? Did you know that's what your back pain was? That's what my pain right here in my groin area is. It's a loud, obscuring voice that is shrieking for the purpose of making sure that I don't hear love's words. That's what it is. Okay.
But it is speaking to us.
Right. It's a voice.
Right.
It's a voice.
And we can listen to it.
And it's
either direction we want
exactly.
to. You and I were just talking about that the other day.
Last night
about the body, remember, as a communication device. And so when I have this backache, I really loved it. We were talking about, what do you call it, like metaphors or symbols?
Right.
What is that?
We're talking about Louise Hay's book, You Can Heal Your Life, which talks about the potential beliefs and thoughts that manifest in certain physical manifestations.
So let's just take my backache for example. And so it's like the Course, I'm guessing here, so tell me if I'm wrong. But it's like the Course, it could mean atonement or healing can mean several different definitions as it's being applied to what's going on. So the backache, one of the things it could be is, like Anna was saying, it could be a symbol of not feeling supported. And for me, that's what it was. And so it was so interesting that it was like, because we were talking about our bodies, our communication device.
According to the Course in Miracles.
We're not just communicating love. We're not just communicating
with words,
kindness, so that we can demonstrate what it looks like to have a life, demonstrating that. But we're also, our bodies are communicating to us personally, because we're here in Earth Learning School with everybody else. And so we have to listen. What's my body telling me? It's in this pain, and it obviously is the effect. I knew that much. I really did. I was like, because we've heard it so many times that now when I'm in pain, I'm like,
yes,
I did this to myself somehow.
We've learned from the Course that pain comes from judgment.
Yeah, judgment, guilt, condemnation, the whole, shipwreck of all of that. And so I knew the pain with mine, but it was really interesting going through it with you, babe, on this different aspects of what it could mean. And so if it's not feeling supported, then I felt like I had something now that I could take to Spirit, and I did. I said, Spirit, is that why? Because I've been wondering why I've been kind of in a bad mood. I don't have any reason to be in a bad mood. I live in paradise. I'm just relaxed and happy, free, just painting my little house in the mountains. But something was edging me and just distracting me from what? Peace and joy. And so if you can find with the pain, okay, where's it going on? Don't just beat yourself over the head and go, oh, woe is me, I judged somewhere recently and that's why I'm a victim to this pain. Is God's punishing me? No, that's not what's going on. Is your request is being fulfilled. The universe doesn't know the difference in what you're asking for. It's just giving you what you want, and you want pain. How is that evident? Because you gave out guilt or condemnation or judgment somewhere, somehow. And so now your order was put in and it's coming back. But wouldn't it be nice when it comes back to not just gripe about the pain, but to see where the association is and go, okay, here, Holy Spirit. And once I did that, Holy Spirit really just in the last, 24 hours, I would say, I've gotten a lot more clarity on that whole subject. Let's just say that.
That belief, that thought.
About being supported. And what you'll learn in every case is it's not as you thought it was. If it was, then you'd have a right to be upset. But it's not as you thought it was. And once you see it's not as you thought it was, your peace returns to you because there's no reason for the grievance anymore.
Yes. In the workbook, the Course says that pain is a wrong perspective. And it says also that pain is proof of self-deception. So pain is a wrong perspective. Pain is a proof of self-deception. So pain is just showing you that somewhere you've got a false perception going on, or you have been deceived. You have deceived yourself somehow. That's what the Course in Miracles says about pain in the workbook. So in the workbook lesson, I choose the joy of God instead of pain.
Right.
It talks about what pain is, and it's not what we think it is, like you were saying. It's the result of having deceived ourselves or seeing things as they are not.
And if we're a student of A Course in Miracles, if we're on this pathway, we're going to use that pain to look at it, not just to be angry. But to look at it, and to look at it rightly, is to look at it with spirit and ask spirit what's going on. I've been doing that all weekend, and it doesn't mean that it's been rosy, but it does mean that spirit's been giving me the answers I need. And so the point of it is do I want to use that pain so that the next time this opportunity comes up, I'll go in a different direction than before. And then I don't have to keep rehearsing this support class, support group class that I put myself in, and then I can graduate on, and I am not in shackles with that story anymore.
Exactly.
And that's what we can use the pain for. So.
Exactly. We made the pain is a natural result of our self-deception, and then spirit can use that pain to help us to see our thoughts that we are deceiving and hurting ourselves with.
Right.
And that's helpful.
Exactly.
So it says pain compels attention. What does that mean? That means pain is drawing our attention away from spirit and focusing our attention upon itself. Pain. Pain's like, don't look over there, look at me. And that is true. When you are in pain, it compels your attention. You know?
And people around you, like, baby, can you put the massage gun on my back? Can you make a bath for me?
Yes.
It's pain wanting attention.
Exactly.
So
pain,
that you're not focused
right.
on kindness, love, and
yes. Pain
whatever.
wants your attention so that you're not focused on what spirit, which means joy, is telling you, is offering you.
Yeah, we can't be looking at joy right now. We got
so
pain's at the door.
That's exactly.
Pain wants to come in and have a sit down with us.
And so that's what it's saying, that pain is not an accident. Pain is serving a purpose. Pain is not an accident. Pain is like, look at me, 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 focus on me. Don't listen to that voice of love over there. Don't listen to that voice of love over there. You can't.
Complain.
You're in pain.
Complain.
You can't afford to listen to the other voice of love and truth. You're in pain.
Yeah, you need to moan and groan.
So the purpose of pain is to compel your attention away from the voice of healing, the voice of love, and the voice of truth. That is the purpose of pain, is to deceive you about the voice of love and truth that's always speaking to you, always comforting you, always guiding you, always helping you, always healing you, always offering you a great reason to be happy right now. So pain compels your attention, pain draws your attention away from the voice of healing, and pain focuses your attention upon itself. That's what pain's about. It doesn't seem like that at all, you know. But here we are hearing the truth about pain. So, pain's purpose is the same as pleasure's purpose. What does that mean? That means that it says pain's purpose is the same as pleasure's purpose because both pain and pleasure are means to make the body real.
Or you could say to make limit real.
Right, or
the
to
body is
exactly
the symbol of limit.
Right, or to make death real.
Yeah.
Or to make limit real. And so, very interesting. Pain's purpose and pleasure's purpose are the same. They're both meant to make the body real. In other words, I can tell I am this body because of the pain. If I wasn't this body, I wouldn't be feeling this pain, right? If I wasn't the body, I wouldn't be feeling this pleasure, right? So the purpose of pain and pleasure, according to A Course in Miracles, is to make the body real. See, you're a body, you hurt. See, the body hurts, now you hurt. What does that mean? That means you're your body. That means you're a body.
Everything the body's limited to, even pleasure, you know, you can only have so much fun.
And notice how pleasures of the body don't last.
Yeah.
And typically, pleasures of the body often require a cost. It's like, okay, I had a great time, had a lot of pleasure with my body last night. Today, I paid the price. Okay, but so it's interesting that both pleasure and pain have the same purpose of making the body real. So let's say that my purpose is to get pleasure. Well, that's me wanting to make the body real. Or here I am experiencing pain with my body. That's also my ego and me wanting to make my body real. Okay, and that's it says, and whatever shares a common purpose, like pain and pleasure, are the same. Whatever shares a common purpose is the same. So if pain and pleasure share the same purpose, that means pain and pleasure are the same.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So when your purpose is pleasure, then your purpose is to make the body real, okay? And pleasure being your purpose is very different than joy being your purpose, okay? There's joy and there's pleasure. They're not the same. Joy is something that you don't have to pay a price for, okay?
Joy, unlike pleasure that, doesn't last, joy does last.
Exactly.
True joy is eternal.
Exactly.
Because it's not hinged on the things that this world hinges pleasure on.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And the idea that what shares a common purpose is the same, this is the law of purpose. What's the law of purpose? It's a law which unites all those who share in that purpose within itself. So, what does that mean? That means pleasure and pain are equally unreal. Why? Because the purpose of pain and pleasure cannot be achieved. Right? Because what's the purpose of pain and pleasure?
Well, pleasure...
To make the body real.
Pleasure in the world tells you that it's out there.
Exactly.
Joy is a knowing.
Yes, joy.
And that knowing is what brings you joy. That knowing is, that understanding is what brings you peace.
Mm-hmm.
Pleasure is, what we always joke about is, if I could just get those jet skis, I could have so much more pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
But
Exactly.
I'm always having to get,
right,
rather than to just have.
Right.
Realizing I already have.
It's a very good distinction that pleasure is something that you seek outside yourself, whereas joy is something that lives within you. You don't have to have something outside yourself. You don't have to seek anything to have joy. Joy is an attribute in you, because joy is an attribute of God who created you. But it's interesting that the purpose of both pleasure and pain cannot be accomplished. It cannot be achieved because what's the purpose of pleasure and pain is to make the body real. Like, in other words, what does it mean to make the body real? It means to make it seem like you are your body.
Yeah, identification.
Yeah, exactly. That's the purpose of pleasure and pain, is for you to go, I am a body, which means I am limited, which also means I'm gonna die. If you're a body, you're gonna die. If you're a body, you're limited. If you're a body, then you can lose and you can die. So, the purpose of pain and pleasure is to make the body real, but the truth is that the body can never be made real, because the body is not real, because it's not eternal. So that's why the body isn't real, according to A Course in Miracles, because the body isn't eternal. And whatever is not eternal is not real. It's not real. No.
But our ego, collectively, yours and mine, have us totally convinced that we are a body.
Totally convinced.
We've identified with this body, and the body, of course, is very limited. Mm-hmm. It's only going to live a certain amount of years. Mm-hmm. It can only run so long, and then it runs out of breath. Mm-hmm. It can only go so many days without food, and then
exactly. Then it dies. Yeah, then it dies.
very limited.
It's very
and
limited.
it's very fragile.
Very fragile.
Get
Ooh.
bones broken.
Very
it can
fragile.
get diseases. It can all kinds of stuff. It's a very limited instrument.
Yes.
And yet we have come to believe that God created something that could be so limited.
So
and
fragile.
We've identified with that limited entity called the body, which is the home of the ego.
Yes.
But the ego doesn't even like the body because it doesn't even think the body's worthy to be its home.
Exactly.
But wants us to identify who are spirit, who are free, who are not limited beings, to identify with it. And, you know, so be it. Now we get to experience what pain, at least we think we get to experience what pain would be like. Oh, so wonderful.
Yeah. Oh, so
and
fun.
what pleasure would be like, because pleasure, boy, I got to get a first class seat on that jet airplane, and they came around and served me. Boy, that was so pleasurable. But the only bad thing is I had to go outside me to get it, which meant I had to work really hard to buy that plane ticket. I had to go through TSA and everything to get that pleasure. Boy, I had a lot of effort to get to that pleasure. And the pain is the same stupid thing.
That both of them are to make you believe that you are your body.
Right.
And if you are your body, then you have every reason to be terrified, anxious, and depressed.
Right, and be in fear.
You know, and to be in fear, you know, because if you are your body, then you are something that is limited and fragile, and it's gonna die, and it could die a million different ways before now. Could happen today. You know, and that's why one of the most frequently used ideas in the Course in Miracles is, I'm not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me. Because truly, until you recognize that you are not your body, you are a spirit that is deathless and timeless and unlimited, then you will always be afraid. You know, and you'll always be wanting, and you'll always be needing, and you'll always be, if only I had this, because the body is a limited, lacking thing. You know, it always needs to eat. You know, it needs to eat every single day. You know, it needs so much maintenance. You know, it requires a lot of food, a lot of stuff, right? And so if you are a body, you're always going to be anxious, afraid, and bitterly deprived, you know, and always needing more every single day. You know, it's like if you are your body, you don't ever get to take a break from lack and need. Right. So the Course in Miracles is trying to help us to accept the idea that, oh, you mean I'm not this body? You mean I'm not something that's frail and fragile and can die and has a million needs a day? That's not me? Yes, that's not you.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. I'm so happy to be reminded that I am not something that's fragile, limited, and mortal and fallible, and is the most needy thing you can imagine. Yeah. The body. You think you've had some needy relationships? The body is your most needy special relationship. The body is even more needy than the special relationship. Your body is your ultimate special relationship. It's just feed me, maintain me, take care of me. I need, lack, effort. You know, what it takes to maintain a body is a lot.
A lot of work.
It's a lot of effort.
It costs a lot of money.
Exactly.
Which creates a lot of work.
And you never were like, oh, all my physical needs are satisfied. I'm so satisfied. I feel so great. No, it's just like the moment that you get one physical need satisfied, then you have 20 others, you know. Now I need to go take a digestion walk. Now I need to take some digestion pills, you know. Now I have a stomach ache because of all that I ate, and now I need to take an antacid, you know. It's like the body is never satisfied. The body can never be satisfied, and then it dies. And if you are your body, that means you can never be satisfied and you're gonna die. And so the Course is here reminding us to tell ourselves over and over and over, I'm not a body. I am not this needy, vulnerable, mortal thing, that's the most needy thing that's gonna die. That's not me.
And this is such a good lesson because we tend to forget that. I do. I get wrapped up in, okay, I gotta analyze my pains, see where I've been given grievances, I gotta plant seeds of kindness. All these things I'm practicing, applying applications, which is great, that's good. But the real deal is for us to come back home. And for us to come back home to some people call it to our right state of mind. There's that old prodigal child story. The prodigal child forgot who he was. He was his father's son still. His father hasn't forgotten that. The child is the one that forgot that. And so the child thought that he was something he wasn't. And we think we are something we're not. We are spirit. We will always be spirit. That's why when we lay our body down, what happens? Our spirit goes on. Where does it go? Well, we're going to find out. But we are spirit. If we weren't spirit, there would be no hope at all. We'd just lay our body down, that'd be it, But we are spirit, and spirit does not suffer pain. I'm so happy about that.
Or lack.
Spirit doesn't, need to be sheltered. It doesn't need to take on a, $800,000 mortgage and work 86 hours a week and try to figure out how to get insurance on top of that for its spirit self.
Right.
In case it gets injured or
spirit can't be injured.
Gets in a spirit car accident.
Wait a minute, you mean spirit does not need property, house insurance, or mortgage insurance, or health insurance?
And we've settled for a life where we want to identify. We have become the servants of a master that's going to end up dying on us.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, all it's going to do is say, well, don't feel bad. I shared all my pain with you. I shared all my upsets and fears because I'm so vulnerable with you.
So fragile.
You spirit child, you.
So insecure.
And you sat there and went, why did I do that? Why did I spend all that time identifying myself as something I wasn't? And then I got to experience all of its pains. And then when I wanted pleasure, I had to spend a day and a lifetime of effort to get the pleasure. And then it wouldn't last.
And then it didn't last.
Be over with.
And then you have to pay a price for it.
Or it wasn't what I thought it was going to be.
It rarely is.
Or whatever. But the point is the body is a machine of effort.
Yes, exactly. A high maintenance.
Yeah,
it's
talk
fragile.
About a high maintenance date.
Talk about a high maintenance relationship.
I've been in this high maintenance relationship for 62 years.
Yes, and I mean, exactly.
Man.
And you think you've had some codependent high maintenance relationships, they're nothing compared to your relationship with your body. None of your high maintenance relationships have anything to compare with your relationship with your body. Body is like, I need to be fed 3 meals a day, and it's got to be high quality. It's got to come from Whole Foods. It's got to all be organic. And that, anyway, and that's just a sliver of what your body needs.
Yeah.
And so it's very important to understand the true interpretation of pleasure and pain. Because what it's telling us here is that the purpose of pleasure and pain is that you would think you're your body because, it makes sense. It accomplishes the same thing, If when my body gets hungry, I feel hunger and it doesn't feel good, I'm going to think I'm my body because my body's hungry and so I'm hungry and that doesn't feel good. So I must be my body.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's asking us to understand the truth about pleasure and pain so that we can stop identifying with the thing that feels pleasure and pain, so that we can go beyond the experience of something that if you do this, you get pleasure, but it doesn't last. If you do this, you get pain, okay, and it doesn't last. Now, it says, so pleasure and pain are equally unreal because pain and pleasure's purpose cannot be achieved. Pain and pleasure's purpose is to make you think you are your body. Well, you can't be your body. You can't be your body. You weren't created as a body. You can't make yourself your body. So it's a purpose that can't be achieved. Thus, pain and pleasure are a means for nothing, because pain and pleasure have a goal without a meaning.
A goal without a meaning.
Pain and pleasure have a goal without meaning.
Can I get that white pillow over there?
You sure can.
I'm experiencing some pain, and so I'm trying to give myself some pleasure.
Exactly. You know, and I think it's Freud that talks about the pleasure principle or something like that. But you know that I think it's Freud that was talking about that we spend our lives avoiding pain and seeking pleasure.
Right.
Well, that is a very shallow, meaningless existence. You know, it's like that's all your life is about, avoiding pain and seeking for pleasure. You know, you're literally seeking for something that's temporary, doesn't last, and isn't real. And half the time doesn't feel good. And the pleasure part that does feel good, you have to usually pay for in coins of suffering. Now you think about the times when you've had like a lot of fun, and then the next day you're like, you very often you're paying for it. Mm-hmm. You know, I had so much fun yesterday, I have to take the whole day today to recover. So the Course of Miracles talks about when you're seeking for pleasure, you're seeking for something that you're going to have to pay for in coins of sacrifice. So it's good to know, you know, it's good to know if you're always trying to avoid pain and seeking pleasure, then that's why you may experience life as meaningless and unfulfilling, because it's all about avoiding pain and seeking pleasure. That's not the only purpose in life, and it's not a purpose in life that leads to a sense of experience of fulfillment. Okay. So it says, and since pain and pleasure have a goal without meaning, pain and pleasure share the lack of meaning that their purpose has. Okay? And so pain and pleasure share the lack of meaning that their purpose has. Because what's the purpose of pain and pleasure? That you think you're your body, that you identify with something that dies, something that's fragile, something that's full of needs every day. And that's what the ego wants. The ego wants you to identify with something that's needy, something that's fragile, and something that's gonna die.
And something that lacks meaning, because you're not a body. Right. It doesn't mean anything.
Exactly. You're not a body.
You can think all day long that you're a bird.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
You know, you can just eat bird seeds.
Go get some plastic surgery to make yourself look like a bird.
You could do all that. But hello, you're not a bird.
Right.
And, you know, lack of meaning because you're not a body. I'm not a body. Mm-hmm. So it has no meaning to it.
Exactly. It's so deep to understand the true meaning, the true interpretation of pain and pleasure. It's really, because it is our major distraction from, like I said, hearing the voice for truth within our mind. You know, so our ego doesn't want us to listen to the voice of truth in our mind. And so our ego is either giving us pain or pleasure. Pain or pleasure, because it knows that when we're in pain, we're not going to listen to the voice of truth. We're going to be focusing on the pain. And when we're experiencing pleasure, we're not going to be listening to the voice for truth because we're having such a good time. We're having so much pleasure. you know. And so the ego knows that. And so the ego's like, I know how to distract them. They're easy. They're easy. I just give them some pain, and then they focus all on that pain. Or I just give them some of their favorite pleasures, and then they totally focus on that and think, well, I don't need the truth because I'm having such a good time. I'm feeling so good. So the ego's got our number in that regard.
They're both distractions.
They're both distractions. They're both a loud, distracting voice.
What was that first sentence?
It says,
Pain.
Pain is a loud, distracting voice.
Obscuring voice,
And obscuring is like...
what's it obscuring?
Yes, what's it hiding? Yeah, exactly. What's it hiding? You know, and so the ego is using pain to hide the voice of spirit within your mind. And then when that doesn't work, then it goes to pleasure, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I know what will distract Anna. I just give her some pleasure. And then she won't even think about the voice for truth because she'll be enjoying that pleasure so much. It's a win-win.
Through her body.
That's right, through her body. So I'm going to give her, and it's going to use either one, whichever one that your ego knows would distract you from listening to the voice of truth within you, the ego's going to use. Some days the ego knows that you can best be distracted by pain, and so it's going to use that. And some days it knows that you would be best distracted from the voice of truth within you through pleasure, and so it uses that. It doesn't care. It just goes back and forth between the two, because they share the same purpose, to distract you from listening to the voice of truth within you that reminds you, hey, you're not a body, and so you don't need to waste all your precious time and energy
back home.
Maintaining something that ain't even real. It's not going to make you happy. Why don't you come on back home to truth? The truth about who you are. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And you can't hear if you're distracted.
That's exactly right. And so the ego is a loud, distracting voice that's either shrieking with pain or deceiving you with pleasures, or attracting you through pleasures. So, beautiful. Hi, I just want to say hi, Rob, and lovely to see you, cousin. And hi, Peter, and hi, Demi. Lovely to see you all. Thanks for joining this healing circle today. All right, so paragraph 2 says, so the belief in sin shifts from pain to pleasure and again to pain. So the belief in sin is either taking the form of pain or pleasure. It just goes back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, whichever one's going to work on you right now. Okay? The belief that you're guilty is just going to go from one to the other.
Yeah, and to me this is giving us a definition of sin. It's saying that sin shifts from pain to pleasure. And so it's telling us what sin is, which is an error.
Mm-hmm.
The error is always shifting from pain to pleasure.
Yes, right.
When you find yourself doing that, you're like, well, I'm a good course student. I've just been enjoying pleasure.
I've been in the hot springs for 3 days.
Yeah,
Nothing but pleasure.
I've been playing poker.
Yeah, exactly.
And having a little pleasurable time.
I've been in the spa all day long.
My body's been getting a massage.
So I'm enlightened.
And having my hair done. But all the pleasure things that we're doing are just like a ping pong ball with the pain.
Yes.
Just going back and forth. But that's what sin is. That's what the error is. And,
right.
And we have to recognize what? The error, or we can't correct it. We can't get it fixed if we don't even recognize what the problem is. Instead of the word sin, it could say the problem shifts from pain to pleasure.
Exactly.
That's what sin is a problem.
Exactly. Or you could say distraction shifts from pain to pleasure.
Exactly.
Distraction from listening to the voice
I
of
love
love
that.
within
I love that
you.
the best. Distraction shift from pain to pleasure.
Exactly.
Look over here.
Look
over there.
Exactly.
But look to the right or look to the left.
Exactly.
But never look straight forward into the eyes of your beloved.
Exactly. And don't ever look within where you can hear the voice for love and truth reminding you that you're not a body, that you're not something that can die.
Right.
You're not something that has a truckload of needs every hour.
And that's what that voice wants to teach us.
Yes.
How liberating would that
Yes.
be? To come out of,
God.
that would be truly to come out of Egypt.
For real.
To come out of this, you know,
High maintenance
high
relationship.
maintenance relationship.
It's gonna die anyway.
Right.
Exactly. I mean, like we talk about all the time, you know, how much time and energy would you have if you weren't meeting your body's maintenance needs 24/7?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, if you weren't maintaining your body, you know, your body's pleasures or pains all day long, what would you do with your energy? What would you do with your money? What would you do with your time?
The ego tells us we'd be bored. Like,
Right.
well, what would I do if I'm not chasing and making a lot of effort for
Yes.
pleasure, at least?
Yeah, and avoiding pain.
Yeah, what would I do? And that's the thing is, we can't experience what I would do if we're constantly doing something else. We have to stop doing the something else,
Right.
the being distracted,
Yes.
and experience what is available.
What else is
What
there
else is
to
available?
do
Wouldn't
and
it be a trip
experience?
to experience your spirit self
Yeah,
and see what that's like,
exactly.
instead of our body limited identification to pain and pleasure self? I mean, how long have we been experiencing that self?
No
And
telling.
there's another self to experience?
A self that's not 100% high maintenance 24/7.
Right.
You know, that where you're, you know, like you said, where you're serving your body, and it's never ending, and it doesn't end up in you feeling fulfilled or happy. You know, you be chasing, you know, avoiding your pain and chasing pleasure all day long, every single day, and it never results in you going, I feel so satisfied and fulfilled. It feels so good. You know, it never results in that. No matter how much you're trying to avoid pain or seeking pleasure, it doesn't ever result in you feeling truly fulfilled and safe and secure.
No.
You know, and I love that question that A Course in Miracles asks us, and maybe in this section where it says, what plans do you make in the day that don't involve the body's protection, pride, or pleasure? You know, and it's asking you to think, what plans have I made today that don't involve something about my body? And you know, you really think about it and you're like, well, let's see. I don't know. Basically, everything I did today was for the body's pride, pleasure, or protection. It's all for the body. And like you were saying, you know, if what would I be experiencing if I was putting all that time and effort and energy into something that truly is fulfilling, something that truly is real, and something that truly does result in my total fulfillment in the end?
And we've not experienced that yet, at least not to its fullest.
That's right.
And why? Is it because we're bad people? Because we're evil sinners?
Or bad Course in Miracles
No,
students?
it's only because we're distracted.
Yes.
It's like, come on, wake up, Johnny. Look up into the chalkboard. Quit being distracted. Come on.
Exactly.
And that's the thing is, we've been distracted.
By the
Some
ego.
of us our whole life.
Yeah, maybe for lifetimes.
Lifetime,
Yeah.
perhaps. And it's time to come to know thyself.
Yes.
You know, that you're not a distraction. That's what the body also is a symbol of. Is a,
Total
you
distraction.
could just say
It's a total distraction.
every time you hear, I'm not a body, I'm not a distraction.
Exactly.
What does that mean?
Exactly.
Well, it means I'm not living anymore to be distracted.
Exactly. I mean, if
I
you're...
want to find my true self and see what that self is like.
Exactly. If you're not a body, then everything about the body is a distraction from what you really are.
Right.
Which is a deathless, timeless, unlimited spirit of love. You know, and you could be experiencing that.
Yeah. Are you really a suffering, looking for a job,
self. Right. Well, you are.
Is that what God made?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, you think you say yes to that if you think you're a body.
Yeah.
And that's why the idea "I'm not a body, I am free, for I'm still as God created me" is the most repeated idea in the entire big old gigantic curriculum.
Because we don't get it.
Because and it's like the crucial idea. It's like the most crucial idea, because we are wasting so much time and effort and energy. We're wasting lifetimes being distracted by what we're not, by chasing what we're not. So of Course in Miracles is like, listen, you need periods every day. You need a period every day where you make a quiet place within yourself, where the demands of the body cease to demand your attention, where the needs of the body cease to demand your attention. And that is the ultimate goal of meditation, according to A Course in Miracles, that you make a quiet place within you where the activities of the body cease to demand your attention. So for 5 minutes, we're not going to think about anything related to the body. Not the pain the body's experiencing, not the pleasures the body could be experiencing. We're, for just a few moments, maybe just a moment, we're going to make a quiet place within us where the activities and the demands of the body cease to demand our attention. Why? So that you can experience yourself as something beyond the body. And when one time you experience yourself as something beyond the body, you will never be the same. You can never be imprisoned again, in the idea that you are this limited, needy, desperate, lacking thing that's going to die.
So errors shift from pain to pleasure, and when they're done doing that, and again to pain.
Yeah. So
and so most of it is, it's like the earth is mostly water. Well, when we're distracted, the ego's favorite distraction is pain. So most of it's spent in pain.
But then it goes to pleasure.
Yeah. And then it comes right back to pain.
So distractions from who you really are shift from pain to pleasure and again to pain.
Yeah. Back and forth.
Exactly.
Keeping you distracted.
Because the ego knows that you would never tolerate pain all the time, And so it goes, oh, you've had enough pain. Oh, how about pleasure? Oh, and then, okay. And then let's go back to pain. So distraction, your ego's distraction from who you really are, spirit, shifts from pain to pleasure and again back to pain. Because either witness, pain or pleasure, is the same, which means either pain or pleasure carries only one message. You are here within this body and you can be hurt. And then also the message of pain and pleasure also is, and you can have pleasure too, but only at the cost of pain.
And that's why I believe it says, from pain to pleasure and again to pain.
Exactly.
It doesn't say and then again to pleasure.
Right.
So most of it's pain. And the pleasure
that's
is probably
sure.
because, like
everybody would agree with that.
The pleasure is probably because of, like I was saying on the airplane first class deal, it takes a lot of pain, working hours, effort to get the money, or to go to the hot springs. That's pleasurable, but it costs gas, car maintenance, lodging. You're going to have to feed the body at some point, probably.
For sure.
All the things that you still have to keep doing, because the body is constantly demanding.
It's
demanding what?
Demanding.
Your attention.
Exactly. The body is constantly demanding your attention.
That's what I was saying about pain at the beginning.
Exactly.
It's going, hello, and now we know why. It wants to distract you from who you are.
And it knows that you can be distracted from who you are by either pain or pleasure. And so it just shifts back and forth. And, and the ego knows that you would never tolerate just only pain all the time. So the ego knows that you'd be like, this sucks. I don't want to follow the ego anymore, because it's all pain. So the ego goes, oh, forget about pain. Here's some pleasure. You're like, oh, okay, that's good.
Here's a date. And
yes,
then,
right.
and then don't forget, comes with some pain. And they break up with you the next morning.
Exactly. Exactly.
So the pain always has like some conditions.
Exactly.
Or the pleasure always has some conditions. The pain only has the promise of more pain.
Yes, exactly.
That's the ego's favorite thing to dish out.
Exactly. But it knows you would never tolerate only pain, so it offers you some pleasure to keep you going, to keep you interested. It's like the ego, who knows that you would never say yes to pain all the time, is like, well, I got to keep this person on the line, so I got to throw them a bone every once in a while called pleasure, even though that pleasure is also going to cost you some pain.
Right.
Okay. And because it says either witness, pain or pleasure, is the same, which means pain and pleasure both carry but one message. And the one message that both pain and pleasure carry is, you are here within this body and you can be hurt. Now you can have pleasure too, but only at the cost of pain. That is the same message as pain and pleasure, that pain and pleasure both carry. You're in this body, and you can be hurt. Just make sure you don't forget that. Here's some pain or some pleasure to make sure you don't forget that you are in a body and you can be hurt. And yeah, you can have some pleasure, but only at the cost of pain. Well, thank you so very much.
And I love how the title is the witnesses, or
the sins witnesses. Yeah.
And now we're going to hear that these witnesses are joined by many more. So pain and pleasure are the witnesses.
Yes.
If you're having pain, then you're having a witness going on, which is really called a distraction to who you're not.
Right.
Trying to tell you who you're not. If you're having some pleasure going on, same thing.Ey're both doing the same thing, because why? They're the same witnesses. They're the two witnesses, but they come to witness a lie.
Yes,
you
exactly.
are what you're not.
Yes, exactly. And you're gonna die. You are what you're not, and you're gonna die. Okay, great.
And
Thank you, ego.
How clever the witness is, like the good cop, bad cop.
That's right. Exactly.
It says that they each seem different because each has a different name.
Right.
You would never say to somebody, well, pleasure and pain is the same thing.
Right, exactly.
And they're like, I'm not into that.
Right.
No.
I'm not into that.
So,
that sounds like something you have to go to a special club for.
But that's how ingenious our ego that we created is from our brilliant mind.
Yes.
Is we created this system wherein looks like two total opposites.
It sure does.
But they're both the same witness.
Right.
They're both reporting the same thing.
That's right.
That you are a limited, helpless, always having to make an effort for the existence of the body.
And you can be hurt and you can die.
Yeah. You gotta find some shelter now.
Exactly.
So let's find some nice shelter so it'll be pleasurable. Don't forget.
Since you're gonna die, let's go find a nice shelter. Since you're gonna die, let's go find a nice shelter.
Yeah.
But don't forget, with that nice shelter comes a big old tax bill.
Yeah. And mortgage payment.
and mortgage payment,
water
and a lot of maintenance.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to paint that house every 5 years.
Yeah, you can't get no pleasure without some pain associated with it.
Exactly.
Why? Because that's the life set up for the body. That's how the body is.
That's right.
You ever wonder, why would God make it so difficult for us? Well, God didn't.
Yeah, that's
because
right.
God didn't make us as a body.
That's right.
We're still as we were created, which is a spirit.
Yes.
The body's one big, huge distraction from us finding our true and experiencing our true self.
Yes.
What a great read here, because it's really encouraging me to want to actually feel that excitement within me, the motivation. You know, they say Holy Spirit, and of course the Miracles tells us that Holy Spirit gives all inspiration. That's the Holy Spirit
motivation.
And I'm inspired as we're reading here. Wow, my true self. It's always there. It's been there. It's never gone anywhere. I've just been ignoring it because I've been distracted by all these pleasures and pains.
There you go.
And all the pleasures come with pain.
Yes, they do.
And I just really spend the majority of my time in pain. But I somehow think that is the only best way to go. Why try the other way?
We think it's life.
To see if it really is better. Because I'm enjoying this pain so much.
Oh, it's
so
great.
Why would I want to give the majority of that up?
Yeah, and besides, you know, I may have a few minutes of pleasure in between all this pain, so that's totally worth it.
That's worth it.
Totally makes it worth it.
It's like standing in line for 3 hours at an amusement park for a 10-second roller coaster ride.
Exactly. And thinking it's worth it.
Yep.
Well, that was totally worth it.
That pleasure was worth it. That person spilling their pop on my back and lying.
Somebody throwing up on my back.
Yeah, and
my
getting
hair.
a sunburn on my forehead.
Exactly. That was totally worth it.
Yeah,
all
pleasure.
that 5 seconds of pleasure was worth all the 3 hours of standing in line and having somebody throw up in my hair. It's totally worth it. But that's what that's what we've been taught, that we are a body, and if you've accepted that you're a body, then you've accepted that you can have some pleasure, but only at the price of pain. But that's what we've learned. That's what we've learned, you know, from
that's life.
That's life. That's normal. That's normal.
That's all we have.
That's right.
That's because that's all there is.
Exactly.
There isn't anything else.
Exactly. Just, you know, you're just trying to avoid pain and trying to seek as much pleasure as you can, and you know you can have a little bit of pleasure, but you better be ready to pay with some pain. You know, we've learned that that's normal, and what we've learned is that that's normal for people who are guilty. You know, and for people who are guilty, that's normal. You know, for people who are guilty, this is what we've learned in the past. It's wrong. What we've learned is you're guilty, which means you don't deserve joy. You don't deserve pleasure. So if you're going to have some pleasure, you're going to have to earn that pleasure with some pain, because you're guilty. You're born in sin. You know, and that's what we learned. And so to us, that seems normal and natural. We don't realize at all that that is not natural. That is abnormal. You know, that's insanity. That's punishment. That's not natural. That's not natural to life. That's a sick dream that we learned. You know, but that's what we learned. You know, that suffering is natural. You're born in sin. And yeah, you can have a little pleasure in between here and there, but you're going to have to pay for it with a lot of pain. You're going to have to pay for it in coins of suffering. But have a nice day.
And what is it all for? What's the purpose?
Yes.
Is to keep us distracted.
Exactly. From
our true self.
From our true self and the voice and the love of our true self, which is with us all the time, right here, right now.
Right.
Okay, beautiful. So these witnesses, pain and pleasure, they are joined by many more witnesses. And each witness to the ego seems different, because each witness that says you're just a body, each witness has a different name. And so each witness to the idea that you're just a body seems to answer to a different sound, which is just the same thing as saying that each one of those witnesses to the idea you're just a body and you're going to die, each one of those witnesses seem different because they have a different name. Except for this, the witnesses to the body, that the body is real and you are guilty, all the witnesses to your body and you're guilty. They're all alike. For instance, if you call pleasure pain, then that pleasure will hurt. And if you call pain a pleasure, then the pain behind the pleasure will be felt no more. Okay? We've all experienced that. You know, where, you know, something that once was experienced as a pleasure, but to you it's a pain, and so that pleasure hurts you. And we've all experienced and also seen where somebody calls this pain a pleasure. You know, like, it hurts so good.
Well,
come on, baby, make it hurt so good. Sometimes love don't feel like it should. You make it hurt so good. You know, it's like you call the pain a pleasure, and then the pain behind the pleasure will be felt no more. So all you feel is pleasure. You know, and that it's obvious that, you know, we look at some people's lives and we're like, doesn't that hurt? And they're like, I love it.
Well, they usually say something like, well, yeah, but it's worth it.
Oh, right.
Because
yes, of course.
It's getting them to the pleasure that they want to get
exactly.
to. So,
right.
You know, didn't that, you know, 85 hours at the loading dock suck? Yeah, but you should see my overtime check.
The pleasure was worth it.
Was worth the
and
pleasure.
now the pain of the 85 hours at the loading dock is not felt anymore. Only the pleasure of the big fat check.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And so they don't think about it anymore. They're just happy because as we say, had their eye on the goal.
Exactly.
In other words, they were distracted.
Right. Exactly. And so really the pain and pleasure are interchangeable. You know, you live because they're the same. The pain and pleasure are interchangeable. So this, you know, you could say is a pain, but you could literally see the pleasure in it and experience pleasure, and vice versa. It's like they're interchangeable. It's really interesting. It's interchangeable. No. So it says guilt's witnesses only shift from name to name.
Even though they're the same.
Even though they're the same, guilt's witnesses shift from name to name, which means as one witness steps forward, then another witness to guilt steps back. So pain and pleasure are the witnesses to guilt.
Okay, call in the pleasure witnesses. Call in the distractor number 2.
That's
and
exactly.
Distractor number 1, pretend like you're not here now, so that you know it looks different now.
Exactly. Oh, here's the pain distraction. Oh, the pain distraction. Oh, I can't take this anymore. Okay. Oh, she said she can't take the pain distraction anymore. Call in the pleasure distraction anymore. Call in the pleasure distraction.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now, she's not being distracted by the pleasure anymore because it's becoming ordinary. Oh, call in the pain distraction. It's just whichever distraction stops working, then they call in the other. The ego calls in the other distraction. You know. Yet which distraction, pain or pleasure, is foremost makes no difference, because guilt's witnesses hear only the call of death. So it doesn't matter whether you're being distracted with pain or you're being distracted by pleasure. It doesn't matter, because guilt's witnesses hear only the call of death. It's just the same call.
Because if you're being distracted from love's voice, then there's only one place to go, and that's to a miserable experience, which is the symbol of death.
Yes.
Is a miserable experience where things don't end up good.
Yeah, you don't feel good.
Where it smells bad.
You're not happy.
The stench of death is there.
Yes, right.
Miserable.
Yeah.
Sadness. That's what death, the symbolism of death is. The end.
Yes.
The ending of that pleasure or whatever. But coming to an end. So.
Yeah. So In other words, you could say the ego's witnesses are all the same, you know, and the ego is either going to try to distract you with pleasure or with pain, but the ego is always calling for death, you know, which is the same as saying the ego is always going for the same thing. You're a body and you can be hurt and you're going to die. You know, that's all the ego's ever going for, is that you believe that you're a body, you can be hurt, and you're going to die. And, you know, if the pain distraction isn't going to work to get you to believe that, then it's going to go with the pleasure distraction. And if the pleasure distraction is not going to work to get you to believe that you're just a body and you're going to die and you can be hurt, then it's going to go with the pain distraction. So it's just whichever one works at the moment.
And because it's the opposite of heaven, because it's the opposite of God, because it's the opposite of love, we could read it how it should be. Love's witnesses hear but the call of life.
Yes.
If we were not being distracted, what we would be hearing is the call of life. And whatever's going on. And what's the call of life? Joy, peace, happiness. That's the call of life. But because we're distracted, we cannot hear the call of life.
Yes. I was just distracted with pain watching Spirit pee in the carpet. Totally distracted by pain. So, all right. But at least now I know what it is. That was
You were distracted.
By pain. By pain, you know. Because it pained me to watch her pee on the carpet over there. So that's what that was. That was my ego attempting to distract me with pain. Okay. So, and good job, ego.
And that's a good example because that's what did it distract you from? Your peace.
Yes, totally. Because totally, when I saw that, I was like, no more peace. Right. No more joy.
No more happiness.
No more happiness.
Why? Because I'm distracted.
Exactly.
And now I'm focused on this.
By something that...
Instead of what the Course is telling us, that all that's happening is good. That's all that's real. That's all that's happening. And we're always looking for where the good ain't.
Exactly, and that's my ego, and the good application is that's my ego trying to distract me with pain, you know, with upset, so that I don't hear the voice of truth, which, like you said, is going, it's all good, no worries, you're not your rug, you're not your rug, you're not your carpet, you know, who cares? So, you know, it's good demonstration right in the moment.
Well, and if it takes us from our peace, then the ego's pain or pleasure did its job.
Exactly, which means it won. You're right, which means it won. It distracted me from hearing the truth, right? Because all of a sudden, I wasn't listening to the truth. I was like, somebody go rubber nose in it and throw it out of the house. Which was not pleasurable. That was painful. Okay, and I love it. Debbie's like, wow, what a test. Absolutely. Okay, so in paragraph 3, it says, this body, purposeless within itself, holds all your memories and also all your hopes. So it's past and future. Your body holds all your memories. That's why hypnosis works, because the body holds all memories. So all memories can be accessed. All memories that your body has experienced can be accessed, and also the body holds all your memories. I mean, all your hopes also. You use your body's eyes to see. You use your body's ears to hear. And you let your body tell you what it is the body feels. But here's the truth. The body does not know how you feel. The body does not know how you feel. That's the truth about it. You're using your body's eyes to see, you're using your body's eyes to hear, you're letting your body tell you what the body feels, but the body does not know what you feel.
We say, well, I feel happy. Why? Well, because I'm experiencing this distraction, this pleasure.
Or I'm feeling this pain.
Right.
You know,
I'm
because
sad.
I'm now feeling, the body's like,
I can tell you how I feel.
Exactly. As if the body tells me how to feel. Like the body, as if the body told me, you need to feel pain because your dog just peed on the carpet. You know?
I'm unlimited. I'm a spirit. And yet constantly this limited body is telling me
how to feel. Ooh.
How I feel.
And if
well, you feel sad right now. Why do I feel sad?
Yeah.
Well, you feel happy right now. Well, why do I feel happy? Well, you're distracted, Night. I didn't mean to say that.
Right.
You're distracted. Because it just has to keep flipping on
Exactly. And, you know, and we are people who are like, don't tell me what to do. But yet we allow our bodies, who are not us, to tell us what to feel.
And it doesn't know.
And it doesn't even know
because
what
it doesn't
you feel.
Know what a spirit would feel like that never felt pain.
Exactly.
It doesn't know what a spirit would feel like that's always happy.
Yes.
No matter how little effort it put out to go anywhere and do anything. It's just happy. It doesn't need to go get. It already has. It doesn't understand that concept.
Yeah.
It doesn't know. And that's who we're going to constantly asking who we are.
Yes.
Hey, who am I?
Right.
You're sad right now.
You need to feel bad because of what happened. I just want you to know I'm your body and I know what you should feel. I know what you're feeling and I know what you should feel. So you need to feel bad. Okay, well thanks, body.
Last time I checked in on you, you said I need to feel guilty because of what my body did.
Yeah. Exactly.
And it's always, the body never has a good agenda at the end of the day.
That's exactly right. Why?
You're
Because
always in trouble with it.
Exactly. Why? Because the ego, the body is the ego's home.
Which believes that in a belief system that you, the child of God, spirit, deserve to be punished.
Yeah.
And what better mechanism to do it than through a body?
Exactly.
Even when it's offering you pleasure, there's a little dangling pain attached to it, floating with it, coming with it, associated with it.
Yep. Exactly.
You can't even get pleasure for free. It's got to come with some pain.
Exactly. You have to pay for your pleasure in coins of suffering, as the Course in Miracles says. So I'm going to read that again. It's really powerful. You're using your body's eyes to see.
Yep. Because you think you're a body.
Right. You're using your body's ears to hear, as if your body can hear, as if it's your body's ears that hear. It's not. And you're letting your body tell you what it is that the body feels. Wow. I don't like to be controlled like that, but yet I'm allowing my body to tell me what it feels and what I should feel and what I'm allowing my body to tell me what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing.
With my back and with your groin.
Exactly. The body doesn't know what it is that it feels. The body is just telling you only the names you gave the body to use when you call forth the witnesses to the body's reality. And you cannot choose among the body's names and the body's witnesses which are real. For any witness you choose to the body is like the rest of the witnesses that the body's using, the eyes, the ears, and the feelings. Okay? This name or that name for the witnesses to the ego, to the body, this name or that, but nothing more you choose, this name or that name. Nothing more. Different names. That's all you're choosing.
Just different words.
Just different words, different
all
names.
The same thing. You're
Exactly.
saying the same thing.
Pain or pleasure, just different words.
Body identification.
Yeah, exactly.
To get you to think you're a body.
Exactly.
The witnesses that tell you that
you're a body.
A body.
Whether it's whether it's pleasure or whether it's pain, it's all the same. You're a body, and you can be hurt, and you're gonna die. You do not make a witness true just because you called that witness by truth's name. The truth is found in that witness if it is truth that witness represents. And otherwise that witness lies, even if you should call that witness by the holy name of God himself. Okay. So it says, and then paragraph 4, and this we'll stop on paragraph 4 after we finish paragraph 4. God's witness sees no witnesses against the body. Okay? So God's witness is not going to be like, the body's bad.
Yeah. They lied to me. They said it would be pleasure, and it ended up being pain. I got herpes. My
body told me this was going to be pleasurable, and then it was painful. And the body is bad. Love's witnesses, it sees no witnesses against the body. So it's not going to be like you're going to have a grievance with the body.
Yeah.
I thought, like you said, I thought it was going to be pleasurable, but I got an STD. And neither does love hearken to the witnesses by other names, which speak in other ways for its reality. God knows it is not real, because nothing could contain what you believe the body holds within. Nothing can contain what you believe the body holds within.
Which is you.
Which is the same as saying, nor could a body tell a part of God himself what a part of God himself should feel and what our function is. So I'll say that again. Nothing could contain what we believe our body holds within, and our body could never tell us, a part of God, what we should feel and what our function is. We're letting our body tell us what we are and what our function is. That's what we're doing.
And we're being compared to Creator, saying that what could contain God? What could contain Creator? Mm-hmm. What body is worthy to limit Creator so that Creator can't be omnipresence everywhere? Just going to be stuck to this little body out in the plains of Arizona, trying to find some pleasure. And, we think, well, yeah, of course you can't contain God. God is, everywhere. God's, can't be contained to just a body. Mm-hmm. But we don't think of ourselves that way. Mm-hmm. But I can be contained to just a body. I can't be omnipresent. I can't be like that, the image of God.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Or could I?
Or
maybe I've been distracted for so long that I didn't know I could be as my Creator is.
Right. And if you are a spirit and not your body, then you too could not be contained.
Right.
And you too could not be told by a body what you are and what you have to feel. We are perceived like, well, I have to feel whatever my body tells me to feel. Mm-hmm. Whatever my body feels, that's what I gotta feel. Because my body tells me what to feel. And my body tells me what to see. And my body tells me what to hear. And so I'm just a victim to my body. My body tells me what to hear and my body tells me what to feel. Oh, really? Wow. So your body is your Creator, your body is your God, your body is your source, your body tells you what to feel and what to see and hear. Yeah, that's right. My body tells me what to see and feel and hear, and I say yes, okay. Okay. All right. Well, that sounds a little limited, and it doesn't sound very fun. Okay. It says, and yet must God love whatever you hold dear, which means for each witness to the body's death, God sends a witness to your life in God, God who knows no death. So every physical witness that you see to you're in a body, you're this body, and you can be hurt and you're going to die, God sees a witness to you cannot die. You're an immortal, eternal being. And each miracle that God brings is witness that the body is not real. And the body's pains and pleasures does God heal alike, because all of guilt's witnesses do God's witnesses replace.
So then we're not distracted anymore.
That's right.
When we're able to hear the voice of love, then we can come back to our true state of mind, our true natural inheritance of who we are.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and even though we're out of time, I'll just say this. So, what happens then after what you just said is when you decide that you want God's witnesses to replace guilt's witnesses, then what happens is the dying live, the dead arise, and pain has vanished.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, that sounds great. That sounds, like something that I would much rather have than the witnesses that I'm just a body, I can be hurt, and I'm gonna die. Okay? I'd much rather allow my ego's witnesses that I'm just a body to be replaced with the witnesses that show me that the dying can live, the dead arise, and that pain has vanished. So, okay.
Beautiful.
All right, well, there you go.
All right.
An hour and a half there. You guys have been awesome, and thank you for joining our healing circle.
We always say, there's just 3 more paragraphs, so we probably won't pick back up on that one next Sunday, but we always say, you have your books.
That's right.
And just pick back up and finish those last 2 paragraphs, because it starts talking about the miracle. And,
Yes.
but how encouraging that we can stop being distracted so much, hopefully, and come back to experiencing our unlimited self. The one where, the dying are not dying anymore. We're resurrected. In other words, we're not seeing things that are taking away our peace. We're not being distracted.
Yes.
We're just hearing the one voice. The voice of peace, the voice of love, the voice of happiness.
Exactly. And then the dying live, and the dead arise, and pain vanishes.
Right. Because what we thought was dead in the story, because of our interpretation, now the dead arise because we have a new interpretation.
Exactly. Amen.
And
all right.
then pain is gone.
And then pain vanishes.
Boom.
I love that. Boom. Booyah. Love you guys. You guys are awesome. So appreciate you joining our healing circle. And we'll see you next time we see you.